Welcome for class. We used to have this saying back in my Iyengar days, we'd say, another day, another downward dog. Like another day, I don't know, another apple, or another day, another downward dog. Maybe we'll do downward dog pose today, but I'm saying another day for yoga, another day, more yoga. So let's sit for some quiet time together, please. You can rest your hands in your lap and let your eyes close. Bring your attention in. So when we think of, as I was saying, another day, another downward dog, we might think that yoga is only asana. I know that you all here in this class don't have that perspective, but when we say another day, more yoga, or another day in yoga, another day because of yoga, another day with yoga, it's helpful to have a sense of what yoga is. And while each of us might have our own sort of personal definition of yoga, and that's valid, yoga is also defined by the ancestor yogis. And their definitions include things like yoga is the experience of becoming once again in unity with your native self, in unity with consciousness, coming back to be unified, or the experience of yoking things together, of bringing things that aren't actually separate, bringing them together so they are reunited. And sometimes in this country, here in the US, we then translate that to be bringing the mind and body back together. I'd like us to think a little bit larger than that. Not only your mind and body, but to reconnect with consciousness and with community. So as you practice arriving here today, I'd like you to practice arriving with a sense of the community that if we were sitting in a classroom together, you would sense us palpably connecting. So rather than thinking, okay, my hips, my feet, this breath, these sensations that you're locally aware of, notice what happens if you let your attention rest on others are gathered here. They're dedicated to the path and the practice. There is a community here. And even if you don't know the first names of the others who are here, you could just have a sense of the image of others being gathered here. So for today, we could practice a kind of definition of yoga as reuniting. And what we're reuniting, it may certainly be that your mind and body come more together in the practice. Your left brain and your right brain, your wisdom and your love, they come more together. But perhaps for today, we could sense it as being reunited with the collective of which you're already a part, being reconnected to the larger community. And being reunited even beyond this sort of human community to the entirety, the species, the ecology, consciousness. And for this to happen, given that we haven't really been separated from community or the ecology, we aren't actually compartmentalized away from this. We only fall into misperception about it. So for this to happen, it's more the process of subtracting that which eludes us, that which gives us the illusion that we aren't connected. It's more about shedding what's in the way. So allow your breathing now to be a conduit. That on the inhale you could sense, okay, there's a larger belonging, a larger connection. And on the exhale you can sort of shed whatever dust is on your mirror, making it hard to see clearly. You can shed the illusion that you've been separated. You could just imagine shedding the stress and tension that give you the sense that you are separated. So invite the in-breath to be something where you're expanding into, and the out-breath to be where you're shedding what would limit that connection. And join your hands at your heart. And we'll start with Asatoma Satgamaya. Let's begin. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. Please open your eyes. And from where you're sitting, my recommendation is, if you're not now sitting cross-legged, go ahead and do something like that. So crossing the ankles, or Siddhasana, which Siddhasana is when you line up the pubic bone and then the two heels. So knees are out to the side. And then turn slightly to your right, and on this diagonal, walk out to your right. So if you were a sundial and directly in front of you is north, you're going to be going slightly northwest. And so walk out and reach both hands out towards the floor. And start bringing the breath into the back hemisphere of your body. So the inhale is like a lifting quality and an expansive quality. And you can imagine the reconnection to that which you have not actually been separated from, but which our stressed or busy minds forget. So the inhale to reconnect to that which you are already being held by, that which you are already connected with. And the exhale to kind of shed the tension or the forgetfulness or the misperception. And then walk yourself back to center. Turn to facing whatever will be north on your sundial from where you're sitting. And then let's go northeast. So walking out to the other side. Walk out and reach through your right hand especially. Lengthen the right side of your waist. And bring the breath into the back hemisphere of your body where you can sense a connection beyond the skin of your body. So not only the sense that you're expanding internal space, but really more important than the physical body right now, the expansion is also your mental body and your inner connection to your wisdom body, which is beyond you. And your connection back with love and grace, which is also beyond you. And then walk yourself back up to center, please. And now sweeping both arms wide and up overhead. Inhale like this. And then exhale, bring your right hand down to the right side of your mat, side bend to your left. Now on this side bend, let's say that we're reaching, if north is where your nose was pointing, you're now reaching to the west. And I'd like you to come down and just touch the northwest spot where you were before. Exhale. And then inhale to roll open so you're pointing directly west with the crown of your skull and your left fingers. And then exhale and roll down as if touching that northwest spot where you were before. And inhale to roll open into your side bend to your right. And one more time, exhale, roll down and lightly touching the direction of northwest. And inhale to open into your side bend. Now exhale, rise up, raise both arms. Use the left low belly to stabilize your lift. Inhale, reaching into that which you are already connected with. And then exhale to your left for a side bend. Next exhale, roll slightly down and reach to the northeast point that was on your floor in the last pose. And inhale to roll open, side bend left. And exhale to roll slightly forward, reach to the northeast. Inhale to open and expand, to sense that which is already connected with you. Exhale, shedding the forgetfulness. As you roll down, touch the northeast spot on the floor. And one more time, roll up. Using your right low belly, exhale, rise up. Raise your left arm. Inhale, reaching up. Then exhale, open both arms, your chest, your heart, and return your hands to Anjali Mudra. And just for a moment, imagine living your life without forgetting that connection. So this yoga is not interrupted by forgetfulness or stress or tension. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now we're going to rise up to standing, and I have to disembark my co-teachers. You see they were on my lap in the side bends. So you're gonna hear their paws going to the floor. I'll change my camera, and I'd like you to come up to the wide leg forward bend, which we've been starting class with lately because it gives us a chance to be inward before we're going to go outwards. So here we go. Let me straighten that camera a little bit. There we go. Okay, and I'll walk back to my mat. me, kittens. Okay, so you take a wide stance on your mat, and let's do your feet about the length of one leg, please. And then come down to Prasarita Padottanasana. And when you stretch out in this position, I'm going to ask you again to imagine that the inhale it's your chance to feel from the back hemisphere of your body that which is already connected with you and which is much more vast and also very intimate. When you exhale, imagine the shedding process, which is likely your body has a residue, but the forgetfulness began in the mind. And so what we're shedding is like habits of the mind. So picture your inhale and then expands like a parachute going up, and the exhale, the body softening slightly down. And do that for 3 breath cycles more, please. For each time you have the breath and your dedication to it, consider that you are uniting your attention with a specific thing in the present moment. That is another way that we might define yoga, that you're able to actually concentrate and bring your attention into the present. That would be on an inward sort of personal scale, but yoga is also talking to us about this sort of transpersonal scale. Now walk both hands to the northwest. So you're going to go slightly to your right and reach your left hip back away from your left fingertips. As you're breathing in through there, allow the breath to get smoother and more kind. So you're not forcing any kind of shedding. You're practicing in harmony with your body. Remember on the exhale that it's your mind that's doing the shedding more than the body. The body has the residue, but it's the mind that generates that residue. Let's walk to center and then to the other side. So you're going to walk, and I'm just making up these directions to give us an idea of where we're going. So we'll call this northeast. North was where your nose was pointing. Draw your right hip back and breathe into the right hemisphere of your torso. Notice what occurs as you invite your mind to shed the habits that cause the forgetting. The word for that forgetting in yoga is called avidya, forgetting your indwelling nature, forgetting the wisdom within you. And walk back to center where you can reach both arms straight out from your Prasarita Padottanasana. And as you reach the arms out, please come to your fingertips, lift the centers of your palms. And once more, let the breath be an expansion of your back body, almost as if the back body is sensing the cosmos which you belong to, which you are an expression of. And on the exhale, soften again like a parachute, releasing its air. We're releasing the illusion of separateness. And by that, we mean the illusion of separateness from the divine. Walk your hands back to your hips, please, and rise up to standing. You turn both feet to your right. Sweep your arms wide. So now you're on the horizon, east to west like this. And when you exhale, please bend your right knee, place your right forearm on your right thigh, and sweep your left arm past your left ear. Okay, so this is a side bend, and let's exaggerate the side bend. So if you allow the right side of the torso to shorten, open the left hemisphere of your waist. So we don't have to be a super straight line right now. You can enjoy the side bend. Press into your left heel. And as we did when you were sitting, I'd like you to keep everything stable, but on the exhale, reach towards the northwest corner of your room. And then inhale to roll your side bend open. Keep your right hip stable, right inner thigh long, right heel grounded. And then exhale and roll slightly forward and on the diagonal. So inhale to open. Imagine you're leaning back into the loving embrace of the cosmos or of a kind presence. And exhale, shedding the habits of the mind. And inhale to roll open again. And then one more time on the exhale, shedding. We're going to roll down this time and reach your fingertips back towards the floor where they were in Padottanasana. Sorry, the cat knocked the water glass over. Now, keeping the right knee bent like you're still in Warrior Two, and bring both fingertips to where they were in Prasarita. With your inhale, slowly straighten your right leg. So this is a variation on Trikonasana and Prasarita Padottanasana. And exhale, bend your right knee like it's like a Warrior Two position. And then inhale to straighten your right leg. And then exhale to bend. And one more time, inhale to straighten. And last one, exhale to bend. Bring your right forearm back up to your right knee. It should be just there for you where you left it. And inhale, roll to open. Now exhale, rise up to standing. And rotate your feet to be parallel. And then to your left side. So we start in this kind of side angle. It's called Parshva Kanasana in Sanskrit. So inhale, sweep your arms wide. Exhale, bend your left knee and bring your left forearm down. And sweep your right arm past your right ear. And as you're working through here, let it be a side bend. So it doesn't need to be a super straight line. And inhale in the side bend. On the exhale, reach your left knee directly left and your right fingers towards the northeast spot on your floor or your room. Inhale to open. Keep your left knee, left hip stable. And exhale, slight forward bend, slight reach diagonally. And inhale, imagine you're reaching into a loving embrace in the back hemisphere of the body. And exhale, the process of shedding. It's really the habits of the mind. Okay, twice more. Now notice what it takes for you to keep your legs stable. What kind of stamina is required? You can think of stamina in yoga as called kashama. It means having fortitude. When you next exhale now, reach your right fingertips and see if you can find the spot on the floor you were in Prasarita Padottanasana. And do your best to keep the left knee pointing directly left. And inhale, straighten your left leg. So this is a kind of variation on Parshva Kanasana, Trikonasana, and Prasarita Padottanasana. And bend your left knee. Inhale to straighten your left leg. And feel it through on the exhale. Bend your left knee and glide smoothly with your breath cycle. And then inhale to straighten. Here's the last one. When you exhale, bend your left knee and place your left knee firmly like Warrior Two. Put your left forearm back there and see if you can float up to your Parshva Kanasana. And then rising up, exhale to come up. Make the feet parallel, and one more time, come down to Prasarita Padottanasana. And in Prasarita, take a few breath cycles while I get a towel to clean up the water. I'll be right back. Okay, and our next position in the sequence is actually downward facing dog pose. So let's have you turn to the length of your mat that you use for downward dog pose, or from where you are in Prasarita, walk your hands and feet into Adho Mukha Svanasana. And in this downward dog, I'm going to ask you to have your feet be as wide as your yoga mat, because we're going to explore some side bending through there. So starting with your feet parallel. Okay, just one more moment for the cleaning up. Thank you for your patience. Okay. So in downward dog pose, when your feet are as wide as your yoga mat, I'd like you to keep your hands, arms, and shoulders stable now, and then tip both heels to your left. So you're going to see your right heel come in towards the center of the mat. And that means that the right side of your waist is going to be more expansive than the left. So enjoy the strength of your left arm. Use the pressing down reflex, the push reflex of your left arm. And imagine that downward pressure through the left arm helps you to inflate the right side of your waist and the right lower back. And then roll your hips and heels and toes to center and go to the other side. So your left heel is going to come towards the center of your mat. Strengthen your right arm. And imagine the downward reflex of the right arm is connected to the expansion of the left lower back. And then shift your hips and heels and toes to center and roll your knees down to the floor for a moment so you can watch. I'm going to demonstrate. So we're going to transition to a variation of side plank pose, which is going to need this push reflex in the support arm. It also needs stability in the central region of the torso and the pelvis and with both legs. So what you'll do, and I think I'll show you as a profile because it'll be easier for you to understand. When you place your hands, they're going to be shoulder width apart. The feet are as wide as your yoga mat. We'll go to downward dog pose. We're going to shift both hips and heels. So it looks like Charlie Chaplin. And then you're going to be coming forward into what's called side plank pose. And I didn't move the feet then. They stay in the sort of Charlie Chaplin position. And then you're going to reach this hand down, rotate, and glide back. So the other side looks like this. You're in downward dog pose. You shift both hips and heels, and you roll forward. You're in side plank pose with the feet like Charlie Chaplin. And then we'll come back down, and we'll reach back to that wide-footed stance in downward dog pose. Okay, let's try that together. Notice all the effort the kittens put into it. So place your hands at shoulder width, please. Feet back as wide as your yoga mat. Reconnect to your breath. And make a commitment for the breath to be smooth. So the other way we might define yoga, and this is by some of my teachers in the social service world, the social justice world. Yoga is skill in action. Yoga is unity in action. So the breath being smooth is going to tell you when your mind and body are unified on your threshold, your efforts, and your capacity. So in this downward dog pose, a smooth breath gets established at the start, and then pivot both heels to your right. And keeping the feet in this Charlie Chaplin form, roll forward so your right arm becomes your support arm. Breathe smoothly and reach through your left arm past your left ear. Use the strength of your right arm. The reflex is the one that we push with. And imagine that downward pressure lifts your left kidney, left side waist. And then exhale and roll your left fingertips to the floor. And bring your heels and toes to center. And reach back to your wide-footed downward facing dog pose. And then both heels to your left. Begin transitioning forward into the strength of your left arm, keeping your legs in that sort of Charlie Chaplin form. Reach your right arm past your right ear. Notice the strength of the left arm and that downward pressure expanding, possibly lifting into your right kidney. And then roll your right fingertips down and roll your hips and heels and toes so they're centered. Reach back to downward facing dog pose. And this time, lower the knees for child's pose. You may take a block or a blanket to go under your head, child's pose. The child's pose is often associated with the quality of surrender. And it's a beautiful word in yoga, the word surrender. It means we're surrendering to our larger love, surrendering to that larger presence. We're also surrendering that which is no longer serving us, mental habits, for example. We're surrendering to a larger wisdom. So in yoga, the word surrender is more associated with becoming expansive, not becoming diminished. In English, it's different than that, and how we interpret it here in our culture. So please walk your hands back towards your knees from child's pose. You can rise up to kneeling, and we'll take 2 blocks for the next part of your sequence. Please step your right foot forward and your left foot back, as if you're partway through a sun salutation. Yeah. Come to your fingertips. And then make a cat pose spine. So your tailbone will go down, broaden the back of your body. And use the push reflex of both arms so that as you're pressing down, your back waist is really broadening. So imagining that canopy into which you're reaching with your breath. Now inhale, straighten your right leg. And exhale, keep your back body broad as you bend your right knee slowly. Left leg remains steady. So no sense of collapsing into the right hip, right thigh, or right knee. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend, without losing any sense of your connection to what is
expansive from the back of your body. And then again, inhale to straighten your right leg. And last time, bend your right knee slowly without losing any sense of the expanse into which you were just reaching. Now this time as you inhale, straighten your right leg and pivot your left heel down so it lines up with your right heel. And then inhale, reach your left arm forward alongside your left ear and rotate your pose open to Trikonasana with your left arm past your ear and with a deliberate sense of the side bend. So think a little bit more of the side bend here. When you press into your right leg and your right arm, including you're using your fingertips, lift into your left kidney, left lower back, your left side waist, and then with your inhale, start opening your Trikonasana in whatever way your body is inspired to reach into the expanse. And listen from within your body. So your body is an expression of nature. Nature has an enormous intelligence and a lot of variation. So let the reach and the improvisation be your own. Listen for where your body is craving some movement, some expression, some stability, some relief. And over the next few moments, few breath cycles, you can then find your way back down to the basic lunge where we started. And step your left foot forward and your right foot back. And then again, press into a kind of cat pose spine to begin here. So you can be on the fingertips to make the arms longer. Gaze in towards your center, or you can choose to close your eyes. And inhale to straighten your left leg. And exhale, bend your left knee, but without losing any sense of the expanse into which you were reaching. We'll do this about 4 times more. So the inhale is deliberately broadening the back hemisphere of your body. When you exhale, bend your left knee and think of the bending of the left knee as a challenge to the back hemisphere of your body, not to diminish itself. A couple times more. Follow your breath cycles, so your cadence is your own. It won't be the same as mine. And now this time as you straighten your left leg, then also pivot your right heel to the floor and keeping your left arm strong, start floating your right arm forward. Begin to open. Honor the side bend that is a part of the pose. Reach into the expanse of the back body. So your left leg and left arm contribute to the lift that you can make in your right lower back, right kidney. And then from this place of connection to what I'm calling the cosmos or the divine or that expanse, let there be an improvisation. How does your body want to move? What would your body want you to discover right now? respecting that nature is intelligent and filled with variation. There's no one right way for you to improvise. Nor is there anything that you could get wrong here. Over the next few moments, begin your own descent, listening with your body, to return to the basic lunge from where we started. And then please step backwards for one downward dog pose with your hands on your blocks. And roll forward to table pose. Take one block to sit on in Vajrasana. It means you're sitting on it like a little zazen, like this. Rest your hands in your lap. Just imagine for a few moments the shedding process is underway. That in us, which is love and wisdom, that in us, which is the divine, it wants to shine through and be in relationship with that larger divine. That which is infusing everyone and everything. And then please watch again for a moment. I'm going to show you an approach to a spine twist that I'm inviting you to explore, because I want to accentuate the spine twist to be more about your upper back and your heart and less about the hips or legs compromising somewhere. So you're going to need a blanket for this, and my other blankets are occupied by my fellow student here. So a blanket for the head, and then you're going to lie on let's lie on the right side first. And when you lie down, I want you to bring the knees deliberately up towards your chest. So you've got your legs kind of like in child's pose. Reach the right arm straight out on the floor. You can watch me for just a moment. So this, you're going to keep the lower body as it is. And explore your twist in your mid to upper thoracic spine. You'll feel some of the twist influencing the outer hip, the lower back, but this part of the body is staying stable. So your legs, your hips, your sacrum, stable as you twist into. And part of that stability is because you bring the knees up to the chest like this. So please lie on your right side with your knees up. There you go. And keeping the knees stacked together. Let's inhale, raise the left arm. And then open out to your left side. And you might put your right hand on your left knee just for some geographical memory that you're not sliding your left knee backwards in the twist. And let's imagine now, so what is the heart shedding? Whatever dust is on the mirror of the heart, can that be shed?
And with an inhalation, lift your left arm, rise up and across. And then roll to the other side. So you're going to have your left side down and your knees up towards your chest. And when you're ready to, you'll inhale, raise your right arm up. And you might use your left hand on your right thigh as a little geographical reminder. And twist to your right, asking what needs to be shed from the heart. What is the dust on the mirror of the heart? And then please raise your right arm up and bring it back across to the left. And then roll onto your back and place your feet flat on the floor. And pause for a moment to feel the echo, the after echo of the twist. And you can then go directly to Shavasana. Unless you have a designer Shavasana to set up, you can come directly into Shavasana. And let the shedding process continue. So your body may have the residue of the mind habits. Your body is an expression of nature. So on its own, it wouldn't try to hold on to things. It is in service to the mind that our bodies have these holding patterns. And it's not to say it's your conscious mind. It's not even your cognitive mind. It's like our neurological reflexes and our animal mind. So invite that shedding process in the body, the shedding from your mind and from your heart. And you can imagine in this shedding that you become more and more interconnected, a felt sense of the interconnection with everything and everyone. So welcome your mind, the distracted part of your mind, to really intimately observe. The shedding process is happening. You might notice in the form of your limbs getting heavier. Or the skin and muscles of the body getting more relaxed. You could also notice it in the internal effervescence that comes from the poses. Now that is also settling into just the homeostasis, the pulsation of homeostasis. Allow the shedding process to continue without your mind getting in the way. Allow the shedding process to continue. 1 more minute. Without moving your body or your mind, let your inner wisdom guide this question. What is one thought you know it separates you from life, from the cosmos, from the divine? It separates you from others, your best self. Maybe one specific thought you could see shedding this one. You can ask yourself, well, how would life be in the absence of that thought? And you can gently wiggle your toes and your fingers. And please bend one knee at a time. Roll to your right. And use both hands to come back up to sitting. And when you come up to sit, you can have the eyes closed, but try to sense once again the community, each person shedding that which would prevent us from feeling our interconnection. And what would your sense then be of this connection amongst us? And join your hands together at your heart. We can chant Om Shanti together. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.
I'm just coming up to see you closer. Thank you, Yvonne, for your note. It's nice to see that.